Hey, hi, hello, welcome back. Today I'm doing a book haul. So I have 17 books to talk to you guys about today. I am extremely excited about all of them. I didn't think I was going to be doing a book haul this soon, but then I placed a massive book outlet order and this happened. So I'm just going to get right into it. The first book that I have to show you guys is a book that I just finished last night, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is an adult fiction novel that takes place in the 70s, and it follows the journey of this extremely famous rock band called Daisy Jones and the Six throughout the 70s when they're pretty much in their prime. This is told in interview style, so the characters are older and they're reflecting on their experiences. Even though this book is about the whole band, it really focuses on Daisy Jones, who is this free spirit LA girl who has always kind of gotten everything she wanted because she's beautiful, and she's kind of a groupie at the beginning of this book, and she's good at singing, but she wants to be taken seriously as an artist and as a writer. And so that's one half of the band, while the other half of the band is kind of this brothers, two sets of brothers that come together, grew up in her hometown, and formed a rock band and kind of just started gaining traction. When the lead singer of the Six and Daisy Jones finally meet, they realize they have a lot of musical chemistry. They write really well together and they end up collaborating on this album. This is a very fascinating read. I know this is a very polarizing book. I don't want to say too much more about it. I'll talk about it in my wrap up. I did love it. Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing is so good. I think I'm gonna end up having to read all of her books after this. Daisy Jones and the Six, I'm so glad I have it in my collection. The next two books were nostalgia buys. I ended up picking up Chasing Redbird and Walk Two Moons, both by Sharon Creech. Sharon Creech is a middle grade author that I grew up reading. I already owned one of her books, Bloomability, from when I read her in middle school, but I remember specifically reading Walk Two Moons and Chasing Redbird in middle school, in the school, from the school library editions, and I was just feeling uber nostalgic. I saw these on Book Outlet and I wanted to add them to my collection. Sharon Creech writes amazing coming of age stories about young girls. There's a lot of family dynamics, especially mother-daughter relationships, and it's just so good. She's so good. The next book that I ended up picking up was I Die For You and Other Lost Stories by F. Scott Fitzgerald. These are 18 short stories written by F. Scott Fitzgerald that were all lost at some point, either physically lost, or the editors didn't think they were good enough, or they were lost in his later life. They kind of got ruined, lost, and it is just a collection of some of his short stories. I will be honest with you, I have never read anything by F. Scott Fitzgerald other than The Great Gatsby. I know there's a ton of controversy surrounding this author. I may have read some of his short stories in school, but I can't remember. I know I definitely read J.D. Salinger short stories, but I can't remember if we read F. Scott Fitzgerald short stories. And I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding this author, but I liked the writing in The Great Gatsby, and so I figured I would pick this up and see some of his shorter works and see what I thought. The next book that I picked up was Hold Still by Nina LaCour. This is Nina LaCour's debut novel. It's got some repackaging, which I freaking love this cover, and it follows two girls who are in a friendship or a relationship, I'm not sure, where one of them commits suicide, and it follows how the other girl is dealing with that. I've heard it's heartbreaking, it's short, it's sweet. I love Nina LaCour's writing, so I had to get this one. The next three books I picked up are all companion novels, and that's the last three books in the Books of Byron series. I own The Goose Girl. You guys may have seen it in my TBR video, but I decided when I saw, I think I saw Enna Burning at Books A Million for really cheap in their cheap section, sale section, and then I saw the last two on Book Outlet, and I just figured why not enjoy it. People have been telling me that The Goose Girl is so good, so I figured I would pick up the rest. So that includes Enna Burning, and then River Secret, followed by Forest Born, and these are all companions. So I believe it seems like characters, I don't want to spoil myself too much, it seems like characters from the previous book are the main characters in the next book. it all takes place in the same world. So I am looking forward so much to devouring these. I believe they are middle grade, or if they are young adult, they're on the younger side of young adult. Then I picked up The Last of August by Brittany Cavallero. This is the second book in the Charlotte Holmes series. I just recently in February read A Study in Charlotte, which is a Sherlock Holmes retelling where we are following like the great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes and the great-great-great-great-great-grandson of Watson, and they are framed for murder on this boarding school campus, so they are trying to clear their names. I don't know what's gonna happen in this next one. There was no real cliffhanger on the last one, and I don't want to spoil you for the last one. So I'm not gonna get into too much of what this is about, but I'm assuming it's another mystery. We're gonna have to solve it. I enjoyed the first one enough to pick up the second one. However, I'm going into this with hesitant expectations because the first one was just a solid like 3-star read for me. So I'm not expecting anything too crazy. I think it's just gonna be a fun mystery. I picked up a copy of The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is a classic that follows Dorian Gray, who is considered handsome and young and youthful and beautiful, and gets his portrait painted at 18, which promptly tailspins him into a crisis of growing old and wanting to get back to these looks. And I think it is just a comment on vanity and beauty and all of that stuff. So I want to pick it up. I've never read it before. This cover is really pretty. Books A Million has really cute packaging for classics, so I figured I would give this one a go. The next book that I picked up, I do know why I got it, but I also don't know why I got it at the same time, and that is Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi. This is a YA dystopian, and I was kind of feeling like a dystopian, which, what? And I believe this follows our main character, who is like the outside world. The earth is a wasteland and it's very dangerous and chemically, and so our main character just lives inside in this like community, underground community, and her mother goes missing, so she has to venture out into this desolate dystopian post-apocalyptic world. I guess post-apocalyptic is the better word for it. And she meets this wild guy who's also looking for someone, so they team up. Just seems like something I can devour like at the beach someday, so why not? I finally picked up Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. This is an adult fantasy that follows Mia, who is our main character, who is enrolled in an assassin school, and she is out to seek revenge on the people that killed her family. I've heard nothing but really good things about this book. I know the last book comes out this year, so I figured I would give this a go. I tried to listen to the audiobook of this a long time ago, except I was on a road trip with like 4 other people, and I was like, oh, I've heard this is good, let's listen to it. For those of you guys that have read this, the first 2 chapters of this book are very graphic and are not probably something that you want to listen to with your acquaintances. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna give this one another go. I picked this up at my local used bookstore, and I just want to love it so bad. The next book I have for you is From Twinkle with Love by Sandhya Menon, the author of When Dimple Met Rishi, and this follows a girl, Twinkle, who wants to make movies. She is very passionate about directing, so a fellow film geek in her school approaches her about directing a film for the Summer Film Festival, and she jumps at the chance. And then she all of a sudden starts getting text messages from one of her crushes, but she realizes that maybe she's developing feelings for this film nerd. It just seems like so much fun. I have not read When Dimple Met Rishi yet, but I had to get this one. It's so cute. I think it'll be a lot of fun. The next book that I have to show you is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. This has really good reviews. It follows a siren princess who is very lethal and brutal, and she keeps like the hearts of princes on her shelf, and when something happens, a twist of fate happens and she accidentally kills one of her own people. So the queen, to punish her, ends up exiling her as a human, which is something that every siren loathes. She only has a certain amount of time to deliver the prince's heart to her mother before she becomes human forever. But this prince that she needs to get the heart of is a very skilled siren hunter. So I'm very curious to see how this goes. It's got really good reviews from people that I trust. I'm not a huge mermaid book reader, story reader, but this just seems so fascinating. Speaking of mermaids, ironically, I picked up The Mermaid's Voice Returns in this one by Amanda Lovelace. This is the third book in her kind of overarching collection of poetry that she has put out, and I am really excited to get to it. So I loved The Princess Saves Herself in this one. That was her first collection of poetry. I was a little disappointed with The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one, her second collection, but I feel like this one might be right up my alley. It's got a foreword by Lang Leave, who is probably one of my favorite poets. So yes, I am very excited. Amanda Lovelace tends to have a really good narrative arc throughout her poetry books, which is something I adore because I don't like when certain concepts are just sprinkled in every now and then and there's no real order to poetry. Amanda does a really good job at telling a story within the story, if that makes sense. I found a copy of The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi at my local used bookstore and I could not say no. This is a YA historical fantasy that is a heist novel. It is a wide cast of characters. They are hunting down this historical artifact. Now, I have heard that the key, even though it sounds a lot like Six of Crows, I've heard that the key to going into this book is not comparing it to Six of Crows at all. I know there was a lot of excitement and that was kind of a buzzword, as that was a heist novel like Six of Crows. But I think the best thing to do going into this is to not think of Six of Crows and think of it on its own. I've heard it comments on a lot of really good issues that are happening right now, so I am very excited to get to this. Now, my only other hesitation is that Roshni Chokshi and I did not get along in her previous works, The Star-Touched Queen. I was very lukewarm on, so that's my other like tentativeness. So we're gonna give this one a go, and if it doesn't work out, Roshni Chokshi and I just don't work out. But I think I should definitely give this one a go because it sounds like something that I would really enjoy. And the last thing that I have to show you today is Paper Girls Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang. And Brian K. Vaughan is one of the creators of Saga, one of my other favorite of all time graphic novel series. So when I saw this, I figured I would give it a go. It takes place in the 80s and it follows, it's like a mix of 80s plus supernatural. It says, on Halloween, in the early hours of Halloween of 1988, 4 12-year-old newspaper delivery girls uncover the most important story of all time. So again, I've heard really good things about this. I trust Brian K. Vaughan, so we're gonna give this one a go. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.